you, James Spader, Poughkeepsie, go.
Excellent. All right. This is fantastic. This was my culinary school days. I was winding down at culinary school, and me and my best buddy up there, Mikey Quinn, we were partners in a lot of stuff. We used to go out drinking.
You're kidding.
No. So we would go out to the bars. There was right across the way from Culinary Institute. We had an on-campus bar which served wine and beer. And that was not good enough for us. And there were only, at that time, the ratio of men to women was 14-1. 14 men to every woman.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. So we had a place across. It was called the Fireside. But we used to call it the Wrinkle Room because older ladies would go there to pick up gentlemen callers.
Chefs.
Young chefs.
Apparently. That's where the ratio got a little more. That's why it's 14 for 14.
But I'm in Poughkeepsie, so there's Marist College, there's Vassar, there's SUNY New Paltz across the way, and a couple of other schools in that general vicinity. So there were a lot of college students. So we ended up going to this place called Shooters. Now, Shooters was like a dive bar, but a little upscale-y dive bar. So we ended up there, and Mikey and I were drinking, and we're at the bar, and who do we bump into? James Spader. He's up there filming, I think it's White Castles. Is that the name of?
White Palace.
White Palace, that's it. He was filming White Palace at the time. And I was like, oh my God, it's you. And so we started... We were drinking and we were getting along famously. Great guy. And and what a fantastic, he really was a really genuine guy. I was like, dude, we could be friends. And Mikey Quinn thought the same thing. So he's like, all right, where are the college girls? And we're like, they're at a college bar because Shooters was more of a towny bar. It was a dive towny bar. We're like, there's a place, let's grab a cab. And he's like, I've got my rental. So we get into his rental, and I get in the back seat, and I sit down, and I sat on a bottle of champagne. I'm like, well, look, I found a bottle of champagne. And I'm just drunk.
I like drinking.
No, I'm just drunk enough to think, finders keepers, all right. So I put it inside my jacket. And I'm like, In normal circumstances, I'm just about the most honest guy you'll ever meet. But you throw alcohol into me, I'm like, this is not nailed down, and boom, we go inside, and we all split up. So he's over
Cover
there.
More terrain.
We did, yeah. And Mikey's over there, and I'm over there, and I'm in a booth with these. Don't ask me how the fuck this happened within 10 minutes, but I'm in a booth. With these 3 co-eds. And Mikey's having some success over by the bar, and James is over wherever the hell he is. I'm like, who wants champagne? And I pull it out. And now, you've been to college bars.
Sure.
It's a fucking cacophony out there. So I'm like, all right. And I pop the bottle. And whose Spader sense goes off? He comes over. He's like, "That's my fucking champagne." I'm like, "No, it's mine." I
found it in your car, but I found it.
I found it, and he's like trying to smack me around, and the girls are like, "Let's get the hell out of here." That's James Spader, and he's trying to attack that guy who's going to give us free champagne. And then the bouncers come over, and they're like, "Did you buy that champagne here? You can't bring booze in here." So they throw us out, and I'm like, how the fuck are we getting home? And Mikey Quinn, who was like on my side, he's like, I will fucking kick your ass, Spader. And I'm like, how are we getting home? He's like, we're walking. And he's like, you're such a dildo. And he's like, you're my boy.
Did you get the bottle out of the bar with you?
No,
or
they took it.
Jacked it?
They jacked it from us. But we were drunk enough. I mean, for fuck's sake. But we had to walk 6 miles back to campus. And yeah, it was, not my proudest moment. And for years after that, I was like, James Spader sucks, douchebag. But he doesn't. It was completely my fault. And I've said on many a podcast that if I could make amends to the man right now, it's part of the. I think it's part of that step-in program. I would more than happily. I don't know that he drinks anymore. I'm not quite sure. I don't think he does. I'd buy him a bottle of champagne, or if you wanted
a crate of champagne.
Yeah, or
just to make nice, because you don't want that phone call. Mr. Zapcic, this is Raymond Redding.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the concierge of crime.
I understand you stole a bottle of champagne from a friend of mine.
Yes,
I don't get to
exactly.
bust out that impression very often, so what better time?
I like it very much. As a matter of fact, the guy who plays Aram, yes,
Aram.
I met him, and I said, "I've got a story for you." And he's like, "If you have disrespected Mr. Spader," and he called him Mr. Spader. I'm like, I cannot.
He's like the Don.
He's like, I can't take that story back to him. I cannot.
And also, I can't party with you. Good night.
Yes, it was a pleasure meeting you. Your life has ended. So he knows where you are now. I've got a chip right here.
You were excommunicated from show business.
Exactly. Like, holy shit. And Ming was like, yeah, holy shit, you fought Ultron. You beat Ultron before the Avengers did. I was like, no,
no,
really.
Ultron won. Ultron stayed in the bar with all the college girls.
Yeah, Ultron.
My drunk ass walked 6 miles home.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't say I won.
With Mikey Quinn, who was like kicking me in the ass every mile and a half.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, piece of shit.
We were hanging out with Blaine or whatever his names were in the 80s. All those high school movies.
Could have been anything.